Hello, today I'll be talking about Module 11 outline. So, first question I said, family violence can appear in an intimate way or a care relationship. I believe intimate partners can have a romantic or sexual relationship, such as your spouse or dating partner. I think care relationships are usually related to family members or biological parents or children. A care relationship is when you are responsible for someone. According to Cohen, intimacy is a type of relationship where the partners are in love with each other. A care relationship is when a person cares for someone else or becomes responsible for them. Cohen mentioned that experiencing violence within such close relationships can make it harder to spot from the outside. I think studying this topic can be beneficial to raise awareness among people who might be experiencing it. I believe some can be experiencing family violence but think it's normal, therefore, spreading the message can be helpful to someone in such a situation. I've witnessed family violence back in my country. When I spoke about it, no one would support me. They would let their wife or kids get beaten up, and all I could do was just stay quiet. Second question I said, I believe corporal punishment is used as an act of raising kids or if they misbehave. Corporal punishment, including spanking or hitting, is a form of violence and abuse. It can normalize the idea of violence and abuse while punishing children. I think it can escalate things from a spank to being abusive towards your children. I believe any kind of violence is not worth it. Its negative outcomes are much more than its positive ones. According to Cohen, corporal punishment, including spanking, is considered violence and is not allowed. He mentioned how America views harsh punishments as normal and it's not considered violence. It seems acceptable, normalized in American society. Cohen mentioned that being abusive or using corporal punishment is acceptable in some cultures as well. I believe violence in raising kids is not normal and should not be accepted. I would not consider using any type of physical punishment. I've seen in the past kids being hit for misbehaving, and eventually kids would have a, a mistrusting relationship with their parents. Kids would not have a trusting relationship with their parents. It creates mistrust, trauma, and behavioral issues for the children who experience violence. Third question I said, I believe intimate partner violence is experiencing abuse or violence in a romantic relationship. It can be physical and mental abuse. I believe women are more at a risk of experiencing abuse in a relationship than men. Men can also be victims of abuse in a relationship. I believe when it comes to leaving an abusive relationship, it can be hard, especially if you're depending on your partner. Could mention in the text that women are experiencing abusive relationships more than men. He mentioned that younger women are usually at a risk of falling into abusive relationships. He stated that men experience abuse as well, but women have a higher percentage. He mentioned that your economic status can play a factor in being abusive towards your partner, which is basically when you take out your anger because of financial problems on your partner. I believe that being abusive in a relationship is something I can never tolerate, no matter the situation. I've not experienced an abusive relationship, but I've seen some examples. I would advise the couples to divorce, but it was a hard decision. The woman would have to tolerate the disrespect because she's not capable of leaving for financial reasons. The man does not change his behavior. It's an ongoing cycle that never ends. Last question. I believe the feminist perspective questions the structure of our society as it goes against things that are normalized by many people. I believe if equality were obtained, the number of violence would be reduced. Families have stronger relationships, would live in a society that does not support male dominance, would have a safer environment with no violence or abuse. Quinn mentioned that society questions whether our government is protecting women and children from abuse legally. He discussed the topics of men being violent towards women, especially rape and sexual assault. Many women experience rape and sexual assault, but they never speak up. Our society holds many negative traditions that leads to inequality, abuse, and domestic violence. I think one problem we can apply feminist perspective to is partner being violent in a relationship. Society might view it as just a man being angry, but it's at least he's hitting his wife. If we use feminist perspective, it's considered to be abusing power and gender inequality. It shifts the problem from only being angry to being controlling and abusive. Men tends to use the power they have in a relationship in an abusive way, like hitting, controlling, or stalking. This would not be acceptable and should not be tolerated. Thank you.